I should put a TMI warning at the beginning of this. Hey guys. So today I'm going to be doing a repot and chat kind of video. These are my favorite videos to film, I think you guys know, and I've been getting a lot of requests for one. I haven't done one in such a long time. It's time. And today I thought that I would talk about my labor and delivery. There were a lot of things I didn't capture in my vlog I did because I was kind of stressed. So let's just get into it. First plant I'm going to be repotting are these Hoya australis. I bought this from REM Botanicals last summer, I think, and then I found this at a local nursery for a lot less, half the price, for five plants. So I'm a little bit upset. I paid like $30 for this or $20 for this or something, and I got this one for $15, and it has 5 times the plants. Anyway, that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, I guess. And I just kind of want to put them together because I have limited space in front of my south window, which is where I like to keep this plant. So I'm gonna pot them up together. Where do, my baby's grunting in the background. He sounds like a little baby goat, a kid. Get it? A kid? Yeah, oh wow, those roots look nice. They look very nice. Very white and healthy. Where do I start? 7 years ago. Okay, so I guess first, I was not dilated. I kept having appointments to be checked and I was not dilating. I knew in my head, I thought I was going to be induced. I was scheduled to be induced on the 12th, early morning on the 12th, 5:30 a.m. on the 12th. Well, come the 11th at 1 a.m., I realized I was having contractions. Like from that point forward, they were pretty strong and very consistent. So they were lasting like 45 seconds to a minute right off the bat. And they started out about 6 to 7 minutes apart. And then they quickly turned to 5 minutes apart. The thing is, I was planning to have an unmedicated delivery. Okay, I was so pumped when this happened, you guys. When I started having contractions, I could have cried. I didn't go back to sleep because I was so excited. I thought I wasn't going to have to be induced. I really didn't want to be induced with Pitocin because of course that's not an unmedicated delivery, which is what I was really like hoping for, which I know plans change, and that is just fine. Wow, these roots are really wrapped around in there. So I was really excited. So basically where I was wanting the unmedicated delivery, I was trying to hold off going to the hospital until I absolutely had to, okay? So I was going through, you guys I think saw in the labor and delivery vlog, I was going through contractions for a long time before we ended up going. I was having them all day. So they started at 1 a.m. We ended up going to the hospital at about 8 p.m. that day. So I'd been having contractions for a long time and they were very consistent by that point. They were 5 minutes apart and pretty painful, but I was doing it as long as I kept moving. Like when I was having a contraction, as long as I focused on breathing and I kept moving, like any way I could move, I was fine. Ryan was panicking all day long. He wanted to go to the hospital like right away, but I was not about that life. I wanted to wait, like I said, and I was like, he was like, well, what if your water breaks and you have a baby like on the side of the road? And I was like, I'll tell you if my water breaks. And like it normally doesn't happen that fast, like you're just gonna have a baby on the side of the road, although I guess it does happen. But don't worry, if my water breaks, we'll go to the hospital 100%. Like I won't lie to you and say it didn't happen. So he was really worried I wasn't gonna tell him if that happened and we were gonna have to deliver a baby on the side of the road, which I don't want that either, dude. I will tell you when we need to go to the hospital. We get to the hospital and they take me into this room, get me changed into the cute little gown. They checked me and they asked if my water had broke. I told them it hadn't, but they went in there and checked. When they went in there and checked, she actually pushed the baby's head up and a bunch of fluid came out. I'm sorry if this is TMI. We found out my water did actually break at some point during the day. I don't know when it happened. I didn't feel anything, but Kai's head, he plugged it up. So all the fluid was just stuck in there for who knows how long. And that is actually, turns out that's really problematic when they don't know how long it has been since the water broke. So my water actually broke and we had no idea. I absolutely had no idea. And I guess that is problematic. She told me it was It wasn't a big issue, but they were going to have to monitor me and the baby extra while I was there, because if the fluid is stuck in there, it can cause infections and things like that. So like if it's unmonitored, it can cause harm to the baby. So they had to monitor me extra. And here's a little weird thing. They actually used sandpaper on my stomach. Like they scraped my skin with sandpaper to stick this monitor on me, which was really weird, I thought, and it kind of hurt. Like it was literal sandpaper. What the heck? I'd never heard of that before. They sandpapered my belly and put the monitor on, and she left. This is when it gets a little bit different. So when your water breaks and they don't know, like I said, you're at an increased risk of infection, particularly the baby. It can make the baby really sick. So they do have to monitor you more closely. And in my case, what they said was I could do what I wanted to do, but every hour I had to lay in the bed, hold completely still for 20 minutes while they were monitoring the baby for those 20 minutes. If there was like a glitch on the computer, it didn't read something, sometimes it'll skip, like for some reason it'll just miss contractions, then I would have to start the 20 minutes over. So really, Ryan and I went on our first few laps. We walked around for 40 minutes. I was doing fine. So then after the 40 minutes was up, I'd go back to my room. She would check if I dilated any further, and then I would have to sit there for 20 minutes and be monitored. And what kept happening was I wasn't dilating at all. Even though I was walking, I was having these really painful contractions. They have a monitor that can say not how painful of a contraction, how strong of a contraction. That's the one I had. I think the other one just tells them like how far apart they are, maybe. I don't know. I didn't have that one. I had the strength one, and they were really strong. So really my body should have been contracting, or should have been dilating, but it just wasn't. And this was going on for about another 4 hours since my water had broke, and we weren't sure what time. They really recommended getting started on Pitocin, which I really didn't want Pitocin. I just know it responds to, everybody's body responds to it differently. And I know some people have really wonderful birth experiences with it, but some people also have really not wonderful birth experiences with it. They really recommended it to get things moving, because I had been doing this whole walking and then sitting still thing for hours now. We had walked probably like 100 laps around that place, and I just wasn't dilating, which was really, really frustrating. I was going through all this pain. For nothing. Literally, my body just was not doing what it needed to do. Are you trying to weigh in? Are you telling them your side of the story while you were in there? Yeah, you were just trying to get out, but it wasn't happening, huh? Okay, so there's the Hoya australis. It looks so cute and full. I love it. Oh my gosh, it looks so cute. Now I have this little jade, you know I love syngonium, and this one's really beautiful. I kind of want to put it in one of these. Yeah, that looks really cute. Okay, so they started me on Pitocin, and she said she started me on a level 4. She said she was going to start me on a very low dosage just to see if it would get my body dilating, and then maybe my body would start doing what it needed to do. Stronger the Pitocin, from what I understand, the stronger the contractions become. She put me on a 4. Okay, so I was on the 4, walking around, doing my thing. We were managing, but the second she put me on that Pitocin, what happened was the contractions started coming one right after another. Literally, it was just like a giant contraction, and then I wouldn't have any contractions for like seriously 10 minutes. So it just made them super inconsistent. And then when I was having them, it drastically made, I don't want to scare anybody. This is just my experience. I know people who have, again, had wonderful experiences with Pitocin, but this is just how my body responded. I would have like 6 minutes of a contraction, and it was just a steady stream of contractions. They were really strong. Like I wasn't able to catch my breath, and it wasn't like a gradual buildup, which is what normal contractions are. It like, you can feel it starting, but there's a peak and then it goes down. This was like, it would spike. Like you could see on the monitor, it literally would just jump, and then it would be there for however many minutes the contraction was. They weren't they were lasting for minutes at a time, and then it would just stop, and then I wouldn't have another contraction for 10 minutes. It was really, really weird. What ended up really making me choose to get the epidural is the fact that even with the Pitocin, they were having me still lay in the bed and be monitored for that 20 minutes at a time, and I would have to hold completely still, like I said. That is the most painful thing. If you're about to have a baby and you're having your contractions, keep moving, and I'm telling you, it makes the pain so much more bearable. But the second you stop and you try to hold still, it just, honestly, for me, it became unbearable. My body still wasn't dilating, even with all of those painful things. So after 2 hours, I was up to a level 10 on Pitocin, and nothing had still happened. That's when I tapped out, and I told her I needed the epidural, but I was really, really scared to get it. So the guy came in, gave me the epidural. I was bawling. Like, that absolutely was the worst part for me, just because I'm really, really terrified of needles. So I was sitting on the end of the bed, you know, you have to like curl into a ball. Oh, and let me say, you have contractions through it, of course, and I was having those weird Pitocin ones, but you have to hold completely still because there's like needles in your back. Again, I'm not trying to scare anybody. So Ryan was holding me, like trying to support me, because I was just sobbing. I was having a contraction, but I had to hold still, and I was terrified. There was this big needle poking out of my back, and the nurse, like, she was over there right next to Ryan. Like, they each had a side of me. The nurse was on this side, Ryan was on this side. They were rubbing my shoulders and my arms and like saying, it'll be okay, you're doing so good. Meanwhile, I'm just sobbing like I'm a mess. Yeah, anyway, it ended up being worth it. So I got the epidural. So yeah, it ended up being worth it to get the epidural, because at that point I had been in labor having very consistent contractions for the 26 hours, and then where my body just still wasn't doing anything, they were going to have to keep upping the Pitocin dosage, which every time they upped it, they made the contractions worse, and like it just was not changing anything. It was so frustrating. So yeah, I ended up on a level 20 Pitocin. She didn't think that I would have to go up to even a 10, but then I ended up on a 20. So I'm really happy I ended up making the decision to get the epidural when I did, because I definitely couldn't have handled the higher dosage, especially if my body kept responding how it was responding, all weird. Just look how cute he looks. Oh my gosh, I love it. These little pots are so cute. Oh my gosh, I really love this pot in there. Anyway, okay, what am I gonna pot next? Pot some things out of my propagation box. I know I get so many messages on Instagram and here about doing a video about this. I promise you it's coming. It's a little bit of a longer process because things have to root, they take their time, you know, that kind of a thing. But I promise you the video is coming at some point. We just gotta tell these babies to get going. I am going to repot a few of these. I'm going to pot up this Hoya Mathilde Splash, I think. Mathilde, I do this every freaking time. Somebody tell me if it's a hard T or not. I'm also going to pot up, I think, the Hoya Polyneura. And this is one of those silver ones that has like the slight variegation. I'm hoping it'll come in stronger with more sunlight. I guess I'll pot this up. I'm not even sure what this is. Somebody sent it to me as an extra when I ordered a plant. So it was just a little cutting. I'm gonna pot this up. That's all I'm gonna pot out of this right now. Ow, I just hit my head. And I have these cute little teeny tiny terracottas. I'm going to be potting them in. Yeah, it would be so cute. It looks so cute on my little Hoya table. So yeah, I ended up on a level 20. I'm not mad I made the decision when I did, because especially where even after so many hours, my body wasn't dilating. Funny little side note I forgot to mention before I got the epidural and I was able to like walk around and stuff. When you go to the, oh gosh, don't even get me started on the bathroom. I should have mentioned that. When you're having contractions, sitting on the toilet is the worst thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because toilets like bowl, you know, so it's like pressure, it like is pressure down in that area where you're having this pain. I don't know what it is, but sitting on the toilet was terrible, and I had to pee so much. I almost would have rather just peed on the floor, almost. I didn't quite get there yet, but it really, really was painful. So be warned if you are going into labor, like sitting on the toilet, that first time you go sit down on the toilet, don't be shocked when it isn't fun and it's not relieving. okay? This is my warning to you. In the bathrooms, they have like this long, they have a call speaker thing and then a long, what is it? I don't know, it's like a wire that you can pull if something happens or you like fall while you're in there or something, and people will come running in and help you. Anyway, I went to go sit down on the toilet at the point that I had the Pitocin, but I didn't have the epidural yet within that 2-hour span. I was like sitting on the toilet sobbing, you know, because the Pitocin made them really, really painful. I was having a contraction, but I really, really had to pee. Like I was going to pee. Went to sit down, I leaned up against the wall and I'm just like, I'm like crying, I'm like sobbing, seriously, like loudly. And I accidentally hit the call button. I guess puts you on like the speaker or something so everybody can hear, and it like sends an alert out in the hallway. And somebody, like a bunch of nurses came running in to check what was going on, and it's just me leaning against the wall crying very loudly. And yeah, it was really awkward. Anyway, it was really awkward, but also kind of funny because they literally just all came running in, which, I mean, it's not funny because I know that alarm is there to actually like help people who need it. But in my situation, it was funny because I didn't need it and they all came rushing in. I probably gave them a panic attack. It was just me struggling to deal with going to the bathroom. Anyway, okay, I need to get this potted. All right, so after I got the epidural, I was able to sleep for like 6 hours. Yeah, really at that point, I was just so exhausted, like so exhausted, because I've been having the contractions since 1 a.m. the day before. I don't regret getting it. I don't, especially knowing what I know now. But if I ever have another kid, I am still going to try for an unmedicated delivery. And I really genuinely, I think I would have been able to handle it and make it. It's just once I got that Pitocin, everything spiked so drastically for me. And again, I was so tired at that point. Yeah, and I wasn't hungry. I thought I would be really, really hungry. I wasn't hungry, so I hadn't really been eating. My sisters forced me to eat something once that day, but other than that, like, yeah, that's all. And I don't know, I just didn't have the energy to deal with it anymore, you know? I don't know what it was. All at once, like my body just started dilating early that next morning. And yeah, it went really quickly once I hit that morning point. I think that's when they upped it to 20. So I hadn't been at 20 all night, but they finally upped it all the way, and yeah, then I dilated. Even though I ended up with the epidural, it wasn't pain-free. For some time it was pain-free, it was wonderful. I felt better than my normal, even non-pregnant self. Like I felt amazing. But then there was a point where I did feel everything. We'll get into that though. Finally, once I hit about 9 centimeters dilated, I started to have pain again. I was feeling every contraction. Yeah, I ended up calling the nurse at that point because I had the epidural, but I was still feeling everything. Oh, and they gave me a handy little button. If I was starting to feel things, I could hit it. Well, I had hit it twice and I still was feeling everything. I called the nurse in, and basically what had happened, she checked me. I was 9 centimeters dilated, like I said. And what was happening is Kaiser, when he was born, had a really, really big head. Like even now, he's in the 99th percentile for head size. So homeboy has a huge head, but his head when he was born was really, really extra long. And it's because he had been sitting there for so long, like being suction cupped out, but like wasn't able to get out. So his head was just extra long. Like he had the most cone head of all cone heads, I'm telling you. He was trying to turn around. I can't remember if their back is supposed to be like this way or if their back is supposed to be to your back. No, their back is supposed to be like facing this way. He was the other way up until that point. He was trying to turn, but his head was so big, it actually was like getting pressed on my bone right. When she checked me, what had happened is he was trying to like flip and turn, but with his head caught on that bone, it was just pushing, it was making a lot of pressure. Like he couldn't turn the way he needed. His head was like this instead of like this. So as my body was trying to force him out, it was pushing him against that bone, which was making me be able to feel everything for some reason. I don't know why. That was making it so I felt everything. He just couldn't get out. So basically what happened was she's like, okay, well, we're going to have to start pushing. A little bit of time had passed. It wasn't fixing itself. So I just kind of had to deal with it for that time. But then once I wasn't quite 10 centimeters yet, but she said, okay, we can go ahead and try. We can practice pushing, try to get him back into a good position and get him out of there. So what she did was we were practicing pushing. She told me what to do. She like reached in, and as I was pushing, she was like trying to grab his head and dislodge it from the bone. And there was a moment where I was feeling super, super intense pain and I was pushing, which wasn't relieving it. Normally pushing helps relieve some of that pain, I've heard, but for me it wasn't, because it was pushing him more and more into the bone. But there was a point where as I was pushing, it was like a sudden relief. Like I just all of a sudden didn't feel anything, and it's because his head was dislodged. So yeah, she like had her hand in there as I was pushing and she just turned him. That honestly is one of the best I've ever felt in my life. So yeah, we were practicing pushing. We only practiced pushing for like 20 minutes before she called my doctor in. Oh, I love you. This was a really exciting moment, huh? It was a big time in your life and in my life. And I pushed for about another 10-ish. And then the baby was born. And I know a lot of people commented on my video saying they wished I had had a mirror to be able to see Kai being born. And I did actually have a mirror. So at my hospital, it was in the ceiling and they just like pushed a button and it kind of tilted it. So I did have a mirror I was able to see, although my eyes were closed, because I was pushing so hard. And that was the best moment of my life. That literally, when he came out, that was the best feeling in the whole world, because not only like emotionally but also physically, because you have all this pressure inside of you for this 9 months and through labor and all of that, and then once he's out, it's just like instantly I felt normal. Well, not normal, but I felt like significantly better. It was amazing. It was really cool. Oh, look at how cute it looks. Did I show you how cute this one looks? I can't remember. I love small little Hoyas like this. I don't know what it is, but little cuttings like this, I just, ooh. Oh, you're so cute. Yeah, that was the best feeling. I did poo on the table. I asked the nurse and I did poo on the table. She said not to feel bad. It happens to majority of people, to majority of women. She said it just means that you're pushing in the right place. So if you're about to go into labor, they don't care. They kind of want you to do that because, oh yeah, she told me it was going to be, I was probably going to be pushing for 3 hours, because I guess if you're a first-time mom, like figuring out how to push is kind of hard. I ended up pushing for that half an hour, which she was very impressed by. They don't mind if you poop. They want you to poop. Well, they don't want you to poop, but they want, if you poop, they're happy because that means you're pushing in the right place. That's what she told me. Ooh, these are so cute. I wish you could see a little bit better. So yeah, don't be afraid. I was kind of nervous to poo, but then I asked her and she said all that and it was good. And I only had to push for half an hour and she was happy about it. They don't want to sit there for 3 hours while people push, you know? I mean, like, they will because it's their job, of course, but I mean, I'm sure they prefer to not. Okay, so yeah, then Kai was born, the placenta came out. This is kind of funny that we also didn't mention in the video. I kind of wish we had. They showed me I can't remember if it was the placenta or the like sac, but mine was really well intact, and I guess that isn't normal. And also, she said that it was one of the healthiest that she's seen. So she called in a bunch of people to come look at it because it looked so healthy and it was perfectly intact, which I thought was kind of cool. It made me feel good, like I had been healthy during my pregnancy. Yeah, she called in a bunch of people to come look at the stuff, which I don't know why I'm kind of proud of that, but I actually am. And then the baby was born. Soil's getting, oh, that looks really cute. Oh, that's so cute. So I think I'm gonna do this Hoya Corona something. I don't know how to say it. Okay, so I'm gonna pot this guy. And then I'm gonna pot also, it's the same plant, but it's just the silver variety. This guy and this guy. So once Kai was born, remember I told you my water broke, they didn't know there was a chance of infection. Well, when he was born, he had a increased or decreased temperature, I can't remember, and I didn't. So what that was telling them was that he was sick. He had gotten the infection. So he ended up having to go to the NICU, and they were going to monitor him because of that. And then also he had an extremely low resting heart rate. His heart rate had just stayed really low, but he was seeming fine, but just the temperature thing and then the heart rate thing were kind of red flags for them. So they ended up taking him to be monitored. He ended up being in there for a few hours. What was really, really frustrating is the nurse that was helping me, like the postpartum. I don't know what the nurse types are, but she was the one that was like helping me after I had the baby. She kept telling us things and then they wouldn't happen. So she was like, okay, so the baby's in the NICU, you know, but at this time we will bring you your baby so you can feed him. Well, that time came and went, and 2 hours later, I still hadn't seen my baby. She hadn't come back to see me. They were having like a shift change. She never came to see us. So we're like, where the heck is our baby? And like nobody was helping us, and my nurse was nowhere to be found, which was really, really annoying. I was really pissed off. So Ryan went off to go try to find somebody to help us. I had a call button, but she just never came. He went off to go find somebody to help us, to like find out where our freaking baby is, because it had been a long, long time since I had fed him. He needed to eat. Newborn babies eat like 24/7. He finally found some people. He went in there, saw the baby, found some people. He was pissed because they just like were ignoring him. Dads don't get treated fair. That's basically what I got from this whole situation. Like if I had been in there, the second I went in there, they were paying full attention, like telling me what was going on, but with Ryan, they just weren't, which is really annoying to me. Okay, so then the next day we ended up getting him back. This one's kind of hard to pot because look, it has roots right there too. So I'm gonna have to like do this, like curl it in there. So then we finally get the baby back. He's all good. He just has a lower resting heart rate than other like babies, but Morgan, you guys, I think you've seen her in some of my videos. She has a really low resting heart rate as well, and she's perfectly healthy. So I don't know, maybe it's just like a genetic thing. He ended up being fine, so we got him back. Well, then he got tested for jaundice, and he was having a little bit elevated levels for jaundice. So they had to put him under the light, you know, which really sucked, but I was just so tired at this point. It was the evening of the second day. They moved us to a room so we could be closer by him and we could go look through the window and like see him. But something with jaundice, if they have it, they need to have extra fluids to help flush it out of their system. So he was coming into my room to eat literally every hour, but it still wasn't enough. So he was eating really well. He was latching really well. He would do 5 minutes on each side, which is considered really good, like for the beginning. So, but it still just wasn't enough fluids. So that's when they gave me that little tube thing I showed in my labor and delivery vlog, that you just basically like have to put it like is this weird? You have to put it like by the nipple and stick it into the baby's mouth, and it pumps formula. They can drink formula in addition to the breast milk so that they're able to flush it out if they're not getting enough fluids. So we were having to do that. Yeah, using that little tube thing kind of sucked. Getting rid of his jaundice, and then we got our baby back. So yeah, we have our baby. Did you know I have a baby? Yeah, that's that. That's really the whole thing. The hospital ended up giving us a gift basket because I complained about that nurse. She was really bad. I'm not a complainer, but like she was really bad. And she kept telling us things and then just not like following through. Like, don't tell us that if you're not going to follow through. We're not making you tell us that, you know? Okay, so there's that. It looks kind of weird. I'm not a super fan of this one. Now on to this last one, which again, I'm going to have to wrap around all weird in the pot. That's my story. Are there any little things that happened that I'm forgetting to mention? Oh, I pooed while I was in the hospital. Okay, that's another thing. If any of you are women and you're planning to have kids, like fair warning, the first poo you have post-delivery is really scary. Honestly, it just feels like your stitches are going. I ended up with a second-degree tear. I didn't mention that, but yeah, I ended up with a second-degree tear. I had a poo in the hospital. That poo was nice because I had been drinking cranberry juice and eating a lot of fiber, like leading up to the day I was going to be induced, because I knew I'd read that it is a really scary time to have to go to the bathroom that first time. The first poo was nice. It came out real easy. It was when I got home. Is this weird? Is this TMI? It is definitely TMI. I don't blame any of you for clicking off this video because there is a lot of TMI stuff in it. When I got home, that is a whole other story. That one was so scary. I cried. I sat in the bathroom for literally hours because it's terrifying. It really was. That was genuinely, that's the worst part about having a baby, if you ask me. The contractions hurt really bad. Yeah, but if you plan to get an epidural anyway, like don't even worry about that because you can't feel it. It was the post-delivery poo that got me, did me in. That's the thing that'll like, people ask me if I want to have another baby, like another biological child. I do want to adopt another baby. The poo That's what makes me think I don't want to have another baby, because that was scary. That really was the worst part. So now we have a kid. He's really cute. He's just sitting over there. He's awake, but he's just a really good baby. Literally, I've only heard this kid cry twice. Like, he gets fussy and he kind of will whine and like whimper and like grunt at us, but I've only ever heard him cry 2 times, like full out cry. One was when he was first born and he let out his first wail for air. And then second was just like last week. I can't remember why. But yeah, he really started crying for some reason. He's a really easy baby, very easy. And that also makes me scared to have another kid because he's so easy. My next one definitely wouldn't be. And my pregnancy was really easy. So I worry that my next one probably wouldn't be. So I didn't have any morning sickness at all. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I will answer what I can. Kind of have my hands full these days, you know? Okay, there's that one. Kind of can't even show you because it's going to fall out. All right, so here's the first plant I repotted, Hoya australis. Big boy, getting really big. This was not trailing this much when I first bought it. You definitely saw me buy this in a vlog. If you watch all my videos, you definitely saw it. If you don't, then you may have not seen it. But yeah, it has gotten significantly bigger, which I'm happy about. I need to give it a trellis soon. I ordered some trellises, but they just haven't come yet. So I'll just kind of pop that into the side of the pot. The root system isn't so big that I'm worried about doing that. But yeah, there's that guy. Then I repotted my jade syngonium, which I just got in the mail. It is so beautiful. Love it. Really, really pretty. And I think it looks really cute in this little pot. Here is the Hoya. I think this is a Hoya Bertone. Could be wrong. I'll probably end up giving this away just because I do already have a full pot of this plant. I also potted up this Hoya, you know, Mathilde. I think this one might be my favorite. It looks really cute in here. Also potted up a little variegated, or I forget the name of it. It's the silvery one. You can see there's some silver. I just need to give it some more sunlight and the silver should come in a little bit stronger. Yeah, it's coming in stronger on these new leaves. Then I potted up these two, which I don't love the way they look, but it is what it is. So yeah, they all are cute. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye! That is how we ended up with this little angel baby. Hi, you're my little angel baby. You're so sweet and you're such an easy boy. Thank you for making it easy on us. You're so sweet. That little smile. I love you. You are so sweet. Oh, I love him so much. Yeah, I'm so happy you made it here safe.